The coffee mug shattered against the kitchen tile the second Chloe recognized the voice on the other end of the line. Scarlett. Her own name felt foreign in her mouth after 12 years. Why the hell are you calling me? Silence stretched. Then a small, cracked laugh. Because I saw your name on the reunion committee list. And I couldn't breathe. Chloe pressed her palm to the counter, steadying herself against the sudden vertigo. Outside the window of her small Portland apartment, rain tapped insistently on the glass, like impatient fingers. Like the same rhythm Scarlett used to drum on desks whenever she wanted attention back in college. She should have hung up. Instead she whispered. Where? Back home. Eugene. Friday night. The old campus bar. If you're brave enough. Chloe stared at the broken porcelain pieces. Brave. That word used to belong to someone else. Friday arrived wearing fog and the smell of wet pine. The rusty anchor looked smaller than she remembered, wood paneling darker. Neon signs buzzing louder. College kids still crowded the booths. Laughing too hard. Spilling beer. Time had bent but not broken this place. Scarlett waited at the far end of the bar. She hadn't changed as much as Chloe expected. Same piercing hazel eyes. Same way she tilted her head when sizing someone up. Only now the sharp edges looked tired. Hair still jet black. Cut shorter. A few silver strands catching the dim light. She wore a charcoal blazer over a black tee, simple. Expensive. The uniform of someone who finally grew into the meanness she once wore like armor. Chloe slid onto the stool beside her without a word. Scarlett glanced over. Lips parting. Then closing again. She lifted her whiskey. Took a slow sip. You came. You sound surprised. I am. Scarlett set the glass down carefully. I figured you'd rather see me in a coffin. The words landed like a slap. Chloe felt heat crawl up her neck, the same heat she used to feel every time Scarlett cornered her in the dorm hallway. Voice low and mocking, still drawing those little cartoons. Choi. Cute. Real mature. Back then Chloe had been 19. Skinny. Perpetually hunched. Sketchbook clutched like a shield. Scarlett, 20. Loud. Untouchable. Sorority queen, had made it her personal mission to remind Chloe she didn't belong. You made my life hell for 3 years, Chloe said quietly. Why would I want to toast old times? Scarlett looked down at her hands. Long fingers. No rings. Because I was wrong. And because I've spent the last decade trying to outrun that version of myself. And failing. Chloe waited. The jukebox switched to some old Fleetwood Mac song, soft. Aching. I have a daughter now, Scarlett continued. Voice barely above the music. Maya. She's 8. Last month she asked me why I never talk about college. I opened my mouth to lie. And couldn't. She exhaled shakily. I told her I hurt someone once. Someone who didn't deserve it. And that I still see her face every time I close my eyes. Chloe felt something crack behind her ribs. She remembered the night senior year, the party. The alcohol. Scarlett dragging her into an upstairs bedroom, just to talk. Then the shove against the door. The hissed insults. The way Scarlett's mouth had hovered inches from hers before she laughed and walked away. Chloe had cried in the bathroom for an hour while the bass thumped through the walls. She never told anyone. You kissed me that night, Chloe said suddenly. Then called me a freak in front of everyone. Scarlett flinched like she'd been struck. I know. Why? Because I was terrified. Scarlett finally met her eyes. Because when you looked at me, like I was the only person in the room, I felt it. And I hated you for making me feel something I wasn't ready to name. The confession hung between them. Fragile and sharp. Chloe's throat burned. You ruined me. I know. I spent years thinking I was broken. That no one could ever want someone like me. Scarlett reached out, hesitant, then stopped. Can I? Chloe didn't move. Scarlett's fingertips brushed her wrist. Light. Asking permission. Chloe turned her hand over. Palm up. Scarlett laced their fingers together. Her thumb traced a slow circle over Chloe's pulse point. I'm sorry, Scarlett whispered. For every single day I made you feel small. I'm so fucking sorry. Tears slipped down Chloe's cheeks before she could stop them. She didn't wipe them away. I hated you, she said. But I never stopped seeing you. Even when I moved across the country. Even when I dated other women. You were always there. Scarlett's breath hitched. I stopped dating men 3 years ago. After my divorce. I finally admitted to myself what I was too scared to admit at 20. The bar noise faded. It was just them. Two women in their 30s holding hands like teenagers afraid of getting caught. Chloe looked at their joined fingers. What happens now? Scarlett swallowed. I don't know. But I'd like to find out. If you'll let me try to be someone worth knowing. Chloe studied her, the faint lines around her eyes. The way her shoulders carried a decade of regret. The quiet hope trembling in her voice. She thought of the girl she used to be. The one who hid in library stacks. The one who stopped drawing for almost 5 years because every line reminded her of Scarlett's laughter. Then she thought of the woman she became. The freelance illustrator with a cozy apartment. A rescue cat. Friends who never asked her to shrink. She had survived Scarlett once. Maybe she was strong enough to try again. Chloe leaned in. Their foreheads touched, warm skin. Shared breath. I'm not promising anything, she murmured. I don't expect promises, Scarlett answered. Just a chance. Outside. The rain had stopped. Streetlights shimmered on wet pavement. Chloe pulled back just enough to look at her. Then, slowly, deliberately, she closed the distance. The kiss tasted like whiskey, salt, and 12 years of almosts. When they parted, Scarlett's eyes were wet. She laughed, a small, broken, relieved sound. You still taste like mint gum and stubbornness, she said. Chloe smiled for the first time that night. And you still talk too much. They stayed until last call. When they stepped outside, the air smelled clean, like new beginnings. Scarlett paused under a street lamp. Can I see you again? Tomorrow? Coffee? No pressure. Chloe looked up at the sky, stars punching through thinning clouds. Yeah, she said softly. Tomorrow. As they walked toward the parking lot. Shoulders brushing. Chloe felt something loosen inside her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. But possibility. And for the first time in years, possibility felt stronger than pain.